so. Make we work for better Nigeria. Nigeria, ebere mi so. Make we work for better Nigeria. Nigeria.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oshiomole versus Oshiomole, Part 2. We're still dealing with the April 20th and April 24th, 2013 Edo Council Elections. Like I said in Part 1, the essence of Oshiomole versus Oshiomole is to look closely at the man we had almost come to regard as the father of one man, one vote in Nigeria. It is important for us to know if we have been taken for a ride. Have we allowed rhetorics to overshadow our sense of reasoning, consequently being misled? Has it been a question of practice what I say and not what I do? Has the governor been honest with the people who gave him so much confidence and support? Did we see the governor activism during the governorship election of 2012 in the Edo Council election of 2013? What was different and why? At what stage are we in our effort to achieve true democracy and be the role model for others to follow in Edo State based on the gains of 2012 governorship election? Do we still ascribe the real meaning of one man, one vote to the slogan? Or has it become one man, no vote? Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to travel this route because truth has only one color, and so is justice. In life, we either experience truth and justice, or lies and injustice. Please join me as we look at Governor Oshiomole, the activist, in 2012 governorship election, and Oshiomole without activism in 2013 Edo Council election.
People are in charge. One man, one woman, one youth, one chairman, one Nasiwaju, one Babatunde, one Fashola, one Oshiomole, one comrade.
Make sure I didn't nominate. I asked a body that I believe is neutral to nominate someone who, in their opinion, is a suitable person to chair that body. Now, we have been able to do that. And the next leg is for them to reorganize their machinery and ensure that they put in place a credible system such that when we conduct a local government election, it will be an election that Nigerians will be proud of.
So what you're saying now?
No. So that is to say, therefore, that right now the people are doing what they have to do to clean up the system, to put new structures in place, and they will give us a date for the next election.
Your Excellency, the Edo Council Elections 2013 has come and gone, but the negative dust gathered will go on forever. All I can tell you, Your Excellency, is that Nigerians are very proud of you and the way the Edo Council election was conducted. In fact, ETSEC is getting awards for a job well done all over the world. Mr. John Yakubu says I should help him thank you and Mr. Ogo for denying the people of Edo State the right to choose their representatives and imposing your candidate on the people of Eastern Northeast. Congratulations for being the new godfather of Edo State politics.
Look at the contradiction. I've seen them. Yesterday I watched NTA. Itula was saying that the election conducted in Eastern Northeast local government was best ever and that the result should be announced. But the same people are saying that the election conducted in Edo State is a sham. How do you reconcile that?
My dear Governor, you are defending the indefensible. The truth of what happened in Eastern Northeast by now is known to most Nigerians. Eastern people voted for you during the governorship election because they wanted a change. Now they have voted for John Yakubu because they believe he will bring about a change in the local government. More so, he has done it before. Why will you not let them have their way? This is the height of manipulation and oppression. It has all the paraphernalia of dictatorship.
Their record the word rigging is synonymous with PDP, which is why they predict they will rig for the next 60 years, although Nigerians are waiting to see how that is going to happen.
From the experience of the Edo Council Election 2013, I do not think anyone can beat ACN or APC in the game of rigging. It is my considered opinion that you guys are masters of the game, propaganda aside.
If you assess the situation here now, I've observed that thugs were recruited from other places to Ovia Northeast, from other places to River. If you watch, many of these people are not from Ovia Northeast. And if we profess one man, one vote, we should respect that slogan.
But they will be shocked that Nigeria are not in the mood for any rigging to take place. So let me assure you, I remain committed to the principle of one man, one vote, because that is irreducible minimum.
You mean to say the principle of one man, no vote, Your Excellency? It could not be one man, one vote, because we know the color of that slogan. But your theory is novel to us. For your information, nothing surprises Nigerians anymore. Dear Governor, we are missing that no-nonsense personality, that we do no wrong, that the country was now made to believe for quite some time now. I do not want to believe that you are that same person defending one of the worst political failures in the history of Nigeria. It is really sad and hard to believe. The April election was all about manipulation to rig voters out. The late arrival of materials, the intimidation, the shortage of materials, and the late voting time were all part of the rigging process of the Edo Council Election 2013 by the Ogas at the top.
Now it is after 2 or to 2. Now what we have experienced here today, we have not even experienced it before. And we want to vote. And we need ballot paper and the boxes to vote. Then I don't want this vote to be expired. Please, we need the help from you people. That is all.
The manipulations and rigging was widespread. It was not just in Eastern Northeast alone.
And they have perfected a new style that, hey, we know we are going to rig the election, we are going to write the election, but let's do it in a more civilized way. How do we do it? Frustrate them. Frustrate those people that are going to vote. Because we now know that some of the candidates are not worthy of going for election. Therefore, in order for us to defend them, is to frustrate the electorate, the voters, by delaying materials. This election you announced about 4 or 5 months ago, you printed materials and everything. You are still saying materials are not ready at about 4 p.m. on the election day. It's a shame. I didn't expect that from Oshiomole. Of everybody in Nigeria, I didn't expect that from Oshiomole. Oshiomole disappointed me personally. He failed woefully.
So, in a sense, I expected last night. I did say to people that if the vote counted, that we can easily get up to 80% of the vote. Of course, what we got was almost 74%, a little less than 80. But that is also because the delay of supply of materials in Edo South affected the number of people who were able to vote.
Going with what you have said, Your Excellency, it is obvious that late arrival of materials is one potent weapon of manipulations and rigging election. One just wonders why, despite the experience from the governorship election, problems of late arrival of materials got even worse during the Edo Council Election 2013, when it should have been addressed, going with the fallout from the governorship experience and considering the ample time ETSEC had to correct that anomaly.
Could that be responsible for your initial reaction? Because some people have said you overreacted in the course of the election when you accused INEC of not doing very well, and you actually called Professor Tahiru Jaga, the INEC chairman, complaining that he had failed.
No, I didn't overreact. In my union training, there is wisdom in taking preemptive steps to avoid fraud or to avoid an act that will affect you negatively.
Dear Governor, again, you are very correct in taking preemptive steps, and I agree with you all the way. But there is a problem. Why were similar preemptive steps not taken for the Edo Council Election 2013?
But obviously, to say you couldn't deliver materials to Benin City, anywhere in Benin City, when your office is right here, meanwhile the same material got to Edo Central on time, they got to substantial part of Edo North on time, and as of that time, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, my people were calling me up to now, we have no material, we are becoming restive, and there were areas where they delivered the wrong voter register. And considering that, before now we have information that they were going to do some of these things, they were going to deliberately sabotage supply of materials. And I conveyed this to Professor Jega in black and white, and it's become vast. And you keep talking about evidence. You won't find the evidence of the delay until it occurred.
And why was an explanation not given on the reasons for the problems with the electoral materials? These questions are being directed to you, Your Excellency, because ETSEC officials seems to be invisible. You are the face of ETSEC. Seriously, ETSEC to me does not look like an independent body.
To the most populated local government. This man has presided over fraudulent election in the past.
Are you specifically saying you called Ephraim Igbane, who is, of course, a national commissioner in INEC, accusing him of not doing his job and accusing him of, compromising?
Yeah, he's done it before. In 2007, he presided over my rigging, and I called him, and I said, Mr. Igbane, why will you not deliver materials on time? How can we get materials on time in Edo North, in Edo Central, but not in Edo South? And in my petition to Jega, I had told him that they were going to do exactly that. And his man told me, no, he's just a figurehead, he's not responsible. I said, so what did you come to do in Edo State? Who are the guys responsible? And I called the Reg said, look, we have commissioner for each of the local government. Isman Igbani is responsible for Uredo. He doesn't just know what is going on. And then we start hearing story, they didn't pay the coppers, and the coppers said they will not go unless they are paid. Now, why will you pay coppers in Central? Pay coppers in the North. You did not pay coppers in Edo South. Again, all of this point to.
If there was adequate preparation, why then the shortage of electoral materials? This is unacceptable, my dear Governor. After the governorship election of 2012, the following commentaries are from some people who believed so much in you. How disappointed these people would be now.
They must realize that what they are doing, apart from forming, part of Nigeria's democratic history, also impinges on the integrity of INEC. And that is the more reason why they must be much more alive to their responsibilities. Now, there should be no excuse for materials getting late to polling centers in and around Benin.
Okay. The main issue is that elections are not held on a daily basis. And of course, I'll even use this opportunity now to call on INEC to roll its sleeves and hit the ground running. Elections will be taking place in Ondo State in October. By now, we don't want to hear any excuse. Let the materials be there 8 o'clock. People go there, they get accredited, they come back by 12, they start election. By 4 o'clock, we finish counting and everybody goes to jubilate, or of course give to link your wounds. And I guess again, part of what we are saying, that before the election, maybe 2 weeks before the election, all these things are sorted out to batch them. This is one going to Uyi Primary School. This is one going to, what's this other primary, Idia College. This is one going to the Ministry of Education. This is one going to Adesua Grammar School. Something like that. You patch them as soon as it's 2 days to the election. You put them in. You put them where they all belong. Those various locations. So there won't be problem. Meanwhile, before that time, maybe a month or so, there will be massive publicity about claims and objection. That is the time when people will go there to know that indeed my name is pasted here. This is where I voted. Yes, this is it. Oh, my brother Tunde, brother Solomon, hey, Omori, your name is not there.
Governor Oshiomole might have been out of touch with reality We could say because of his busy schedule. But what about his special advisors on media, like Kasim Afegwa? I think they will do a better job than the governor, because they should be more in touch with reality on ground.
Words, last-minute administrative lapses. We've been trying to unravel why materials were at INEC, at the destinations in faraway Edo Central and Edo North. And some of the materials just couldn't get to some places within Edo South, which is the state capital.
I was expecting Kayode Edo to tell us exactly what he meant by administrative lapses, because we had raised, allegations before the elections that there were plans by the opposition to rig the election, and we had also complained about the processes leading to the election, to the extent that if those things are not addressed, that there's a likelihood that they will be rigged.
Oh yes, sir. There's no excuse for administrative lapses in a serious case such as this. INEC definitely has a responsibility to deliver materials on time and ensure that the people's vote counts. But would you say the same thing about ESIEC in the just concluded Edo Council election? Maybe you should tell us why materials took up to 3 to 4 p.m. to get to the polling stations. Or tell us why you people insisted on voting when it was already almost night. Do you not think these were strategies to rig the election? At least, despite the losses, you people won the governorship election, unlike the case now, where the people's votes are denied.
I remember I was here last week and I said, we have devised our own method of ensuring that the people's votes count, but at any rate, INEC has a responsibility to ensure that the materials get to the destinations at the appropriate time. And at the election, it was curious to some of us that distance from Benin to my village, for example, Okwela, where I come from, is about 2 hours. Materials arrive about 8:30, and accreditation started almost immediately. Then about 10:30, you now hear about materials not being seen anywhere around Oredo or what have you. So there's the need for you to raise, some kind of concern about, Benin City not getting the materials, which is naturally the headquarters of the state, and a village like mine getting the materials at the appropriate time. And if you look at the population of voters in Oredo, over 250,000, that tells you that there might likely be some kind of foul play. If it was an administrative lapse that he didn't explain, such administrative lapse will also be as a result of plans by some other persons to rig the elections in that particular area.
Let's get this clear, Mr. Kasim Afegboa. You are very particular about materials getting to election ground early. I agree with you. The materials eventually got there by, let's say, 12 p.m. The worrying thing is that a year after that your experience, your government presided over an election that materials did not get to the polling station till 4 p.m. in some places on the first day. And even during the cancelled election, the same thing happened. Why, Mr. Special Advisor? Experience, they say, is the best teacher.
That was why, when we saw that Oredo was trying to be funny, the governor had to raise alarm.
A year ago, the governor used his office and position to raise alarm on his presumed attempt to manipulate the electoral process. He's using that same position now to suppress the democratic right of the Edo people. This is injustice, Your Excellency.
You raised alarm, and he was actually almost blaming the process. And if he was blaming the process, now that he's victorious, shouldn't he also still go ahead and fault the process? Why did he accept it?
No. You see, the issue is this. He had maintained consistently that it is not about the outcome, but the process leading to the outcome. The fact that you got home, let me use paraphrasing, I said the fact that you got home safely from an accident scene does not mean you should not investigate the cause of the accident. But you got home safely. So what he did was to raise the alarm that whatever plans anybody may have with respect, it couldn't have been a coincidence that the local government with the highest number of registered voters was having that kind of crisis. In the heart of Benin City, not that it's in the hinterland, not in the villages, not where you will travel. It's about 5 minutes drive from INEC headquarters.
Mr. Special Advisor, there are two issues here. The governor cannot apologize because he does not care about other people's feelings. He only wants to hear his voice. He can do no wrong. He is the Godfather and the only person that can be right. Again, let's talk about the process, Mr. Kasim. If the process of the Edo Governorship election 2012 initially looked shaky, that of the Council election 2013 was disastrous right from the onset. You are aware that the PDP did not participate in the Ekpoma election because the people did not see any need to go to the poll when it was already clear that it has been manipulated. In Esan Southeast, there was no election in Ugboha and other places around. Yet, the election was declared in favor of ACN. Esan Northeast has had to conduct their election 3 times now, and the result is the biggest miracle of the century.
We were already aware that July 14 was the date set by you, not by us, for elections. Whatever preparations you are going to make, it's expected that you have made them before then. So issue of not paying allowance to core members and all that was not shouldn't be the doing of the candidates who were involved in the elections.
Bang on, Mr. Kasim. Your government started making preparations for this election a long time ago. What then happened to all the plans? Why did they fall apart? Do you not think it was a strategy to rig the election?
Well, rather than rating INEC, I will rate the people of Edo State, the Edo voters. I'm amazed at their level of enlightenment, their level of mobilization and sensitization. And I want to use this opportunity to thank them. You see, because what we saw on ground before the elections, we were thinking that we were going to, the use of money by the opposition parties and all of that was something that we couldn't contend with. We were raising worries and raising doubts. People said their conscience. Voter cards were being bought with the pretense, 5,000, 10,000. We have evidence, recorded evidence. So we presented all of this to INEC. So I want to rate the Edo voters very high. I want to praise them, I want to commend them.
You could talk about the Edo voters because they were given the freedom by INEC and the federal government to do whatever they liked during the governorship election of 2012. Unlike now, that their voices have been suppressed. What would you say about the Edo voters now, who are being persecuted because they have the audacity to have their own mind? That same mind they used to vote for Governor Oshiomole only a year ago.
The Edo example, if truly it's an example for others, so what can the people of Ondo pick from the elections in Edo State?
Yes, I think there's so much to learn from Edo State. One, sustaining the mantra of one man, one vote is very key to any representative democracy, because whoever emerges, represent the wishes and aspirations of the people. That's why you see after the elections, you can see the calm in Edo State. I don't think you are hearing any blue model from Edo State. You are hearing any kind of tension and all of that.
It is good that you said there was no tension a year ago when the governor won his re-election, Mr. Kasim. But can you say the same thing now? Seeing the outcome of the council election and the crisis all over the state, should we not be celebrating INEC and the federal government? Seeing what SYEC and the Oga at the top have done to democracy in the state? It is now a demonstration of grace, Mr. Kasim.
But on the issue of INEC, I want to commend them. They deserve commendation for conducting an election that was devoid of any crisis. In spite of the initial skirmishes here and there, they were still able to put their ass together, and at the end of the day, deliver to Edo people the right candidate in Comrade Adams Oshiomole to continue the good work he has commenced in his first step.
Wow. INEC conducted an election that was devoid of any crisis, despite the initial slow start. And your party got the expected result. What would you say of SYEC now? Would you commend them? How are you dealing with the controversy generated by the unfortunate local elections in Edo State?
Should they also expect to see this level of fairness, as it were, with the State Electoral Commission when finally the local government elections approach?
Of course, no, the local government elections is within the purview of the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission. So since we are not going to dictate to them what they do, they are also.
Are they true? Are you insinuating that they are actually independent?
They are State Independent Electoral Commission. So they have to prove that by ensuring that when the local government elections come up, they will be able to ensure that there's fairness, there's freeness, and that the process is credible. And talking about Ondo State also, they should insist that one man, one vote counts, because that is the key. That is the key factor in ensuring that the right persons are voted into office.
My dear homeboy, this has not been except election. Let the truth be told. It has been Governor Oshiomole and his cabal's election all the way. Governor Oshiomole is the face of this election. People barely know who the man Ogo is. He's just a figurehead who agreed to do the dirty bidding of his master.
If you vote in the wrong person, it's like the minority rigging out the majority. It will end up in crisis and violence, and nobody is praying for that.
Exactly, Mr. Kasim. The minority has rigged out the majority in most of the local governments. Posterity will judge anyone that contributed to derailing the good dividends of democracy that was being nurtured in Edo State. As for reciprocating the good gesture to the people of Edo State, you will agree with me that your government has failed woefully. The gains we thought we had made has now been thrown back to 20 years ago. It is really sad. It has not been one man, one vote, but one man, no vote.
People are in charge. One man, one woman, one youth, one chairman, one Nasiwaju, one Babatude, one Fashola, one Oshiomole, one comrade.
The important point to note in this democratic madness and executive rascality, ladies and gentlemen, is that everything the governor shouted and fought against happening during the governorship election of 2012, even though there was no concrete evidence then that they were going to happen, were unleashed on the people of Edo State by the same activists that we thought had come to embody democratic rebirth in Nigeria because of his one man, one vote, justice and fair play slogan. Now we know better. But the question is, why the 360 degrees U-turn from the champion of working democracy to the destroyer of democratic institutions in the state? Watch out for Oshiomole versus Oshiomole, Part 3.